Hello. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Brian, and about 2 years ago, my family and I moved to Thailand from the United States. I've been driving about the same amount of time. Although I absolutely love the country, there are some things that I hate about driving here. And don't get me wrong, driving in California had its problems too. In no particular order of importance, here are the top 5 things that I hate about driving in Thailand. First up, road work. There's actually a few issues here, starting with patches. A lot of times when they patch a road, the patch itself is worse than the original pothole or crack that was in the road. Worse in the sense that if you've got a vehicle with very stiff suspension, when you drive over it, you're going to be bouncing all over the place. I've watched my wife's head, in her seat as she's taking a nap, driving down these country roads. Her head is just flopping around all over the place. I've hit the back of the headrest a few times. If they just smoothed out these patches much better so it's at the same level as the road, everything would be great. Second issue that I've got with road work are the signs or cone placement. Sometimes the signs are very confusing. You don't know where you're driving. The cones may be open at one end, so you'd end up driving in a totally incorrect lane. If I had that happen to me, I had some workers that were standing in the lane that I was supposed to be in, driving, and I ended up driving in the other lane that I was not supposed to be in, and ended up driving into the dirt, and nobody said anything. Nobody was waving a flag saying, hey, go this way. It was just total chaos. The other thing is, I've been on roads where it's newly paved, and it was pitch black, no street lights. And as I'm driving down the road, unfortunately, I have no idea where I am. I don't know if I'm going left, right, straight, but it's just the lines, lack of temporary lines just makes the driving experience so chaotic. I'll have to drive like at 5 kilometers an hour just so I don't end up driving off the road, off a cliff, whatever. It's just crazy. Another thing that I've seen is like a lack of safety. A lot of times, you'll see there's no like a dividing concrete barrier. And if you don't pay attention, take your eyes off the road one brief moment, you can actually end up driving off like a meter drop into the temporary road that they're tearing up or whatever. It's bad news. And for the workers, I've seen it where you've got exposed rebar, no caps to protect. So I always I'm always like a safety first type of person. So when I see that, I'm like, oh God, please, nobody fall onto a piece of rebar. You're going to impale yourself. Road work is just it's a mess. Motorbikes, great way to get around town. Don't get me wrong, but there are several issues that I've got with motorbikes. Driving in these country roads late at night, there have been many times where as I'm driving down the road, I see this black patch kind of moving around. It's a little bit darker than the rest of the darkness that's in the wooded area. And as I'm driving, the little voice says, Brian, you need to slow down, be a little bit careful. Something's not right. And as I approach, sure enough, it's a motorbike where the back taillight is out, completely gone. And the front light, you would think, maybe you could see the motorbike because of the front light. No, you can't. The front light is from the 1950s. It's completely faded. It's like one candlelight worth of power. It's just a mess. So if you're, again, not paying attention, you're just going to run right through this motorbike. And it's all because of probably $1 light bulb that they need to replace for the taillight. Crazy. Other thing that I hate about the motorbikes is as I'm driving down the main road, there will be a T intersection, and the motorbike will be coming from the T, and they make no attempt to look to the right to see what vehicles are coming, and they will just merge right onto the road. If you're lucky, they'll merge onto the shoulder, which obviously you don't want to be driving there as a car. But sometimes they'll merge right into the road or the lane that you're driving in. I've been driving down, again, the country roads where I saw driving over a bridge this old grandma with probably a granddaughter or grandson driving down, and that little voice said, "Brian, you probably should slow down." And sure enough, when they got off the bridge, they merged right in front of my car, and luckily I was already on the brake, and I was all moving over a lane to avoid colliding with them. But they just, I don't know what they're thinking. They just go, and they probably think that, you know, they're the boss of the road, get out of my way type of thing. Actually, I think they're just not thinking. Just a mess. Other thing that I hate with the motorbikes is when I come to a stoplight, the motorbikes will lane filter, and they'll go in between the cars, and they'll all congregate at the very front of the stoplight. And so you've got maybe 10, 15 of these things sitting at the light waiting for it to turn green. And I'm thinking, oh, these motorbikes must be the ones that are really fast. So they're just going to jam when the light turns green and they'll be gone, you know. They'll put their legs up and race. So when that light turns green, they all go slowly down the road. So you're stuck behind this mass of motorbikes, and then you have the job of needing to pass every single one of them. It just drives me insane. Like, if you're going to make your way all the way up to the front of the limit line, when that light turns green, you should be gone, because I want to be gone. I want to go home. I want to go to the store. I want to go get food. But they're just there, and it annoys me. Just friggin' annoys me. Another thing that just drives me at the wall are the slow drivers. Now, I'm patient. I'm very patient, so don't get me wrong. But every once in a while, again, on those back roads, I'll come across this pickup truck, the farm truck as I like to call it, where it's like rusted on every single corner. The window's down, the driver's arm is out the window. The driver, as you're passing them, they're sitting probably like 2 inches from the steering wheel, but they drive like 5 kilometers an hour, probably 3 miles an hour, just down this road, you know, with not a care in the world. They don't even care that you're behind them, because they're not even checking their mirrors or anything. So you'll have to pass them safely, of course, but it's like, come on, like, you shouldn't even be driving. If you're going that slow, you should not be on the road at all. My wife and I usually joke, saying that, oh, the reason why the guy's driving so slow is because he doesn't want to get home, because he's trying to avoid his wife. Anyways, so the other part with the slow drivers is the real thing that annoys me, and it's not so much a problem in the United States, and I don't know why. If you're driving down a larger highway, they'll have these random U-turn spots. And a lot of times, these vehicles, whether it be a big truck, a pickup truck, even a car, they'll pull over into the fast lane where that U-turn is. They'll go into the fast lane, and they'll be driving really, really slow. And you're thinking like, oh, maybe there's traffic, because you can't see around them. They're overloaded. They got stuff, you know, piled like twice as high as their vehicle. So you're thinking like, oh, there's traffic. So you kind of lean to the left, and you can see there's nobody next to them. So you know that's, you know, a safe route to go around them. What they're doing is they're preparing probably 10 kilometers back to get into that U-turn lane. But again, they don't care. They don't care that they're in the fast lane. They don't care that, you know, they're driving so damn slow. All they care about, they're just like tunnel vision. All they care about is making it so they can go into the turn lane. And so you got to be aware of these people. So if you ever see a very, very slow driver, in that fast lane, again, they're probably getting ready to use that turn lane, that U-turn lane. So just be aware you're going to have to navigate around them, or just drive as slow as they are. Another issue that I run into all the time is parking. Now, I have an SUV. It's fairly large. It's a Ford Everest. You can look that up for, the dimensions of the vehicle. But the two issues that I run into with parking are, A, there is no parking. A lot of these cities, there wasn't a lot of planning. So there's no parking. There's no parking. Again, it's great if you have a motorbike. You can just drive right up to the place and take that little 2 foot by 2 foot spot and just park there, and you're golden. My wife and I just went to the bank the other day, and I had to park probably half a kilometer away from the bank. And actually, I dropped her off right in front of the bank. It's because there was no parking. There was no parking for customers at all. So if you have a very large vehicle, forget about it. You do see a lot of smaller vehicles, but even still, for them, it could be challenging to park. Second problem I see with parking is you'll be in a designated parking lot. Oh, a rarity, right? You've got a parking lot, and people struggle to park within the lines. It's just crazy. A lot of people, even if it's diagonal or straight to the road, perpendicular to the road, people cannot park within the lines. And for me, I always like to park within those lines because I'm just paranoid about getting my sides of my vehicle dinged by people opening up car doors. Now, it hasn't happened yet, so maybe people in Thailand are just more courteous, which is great. I know in America, I've witnessed it with my own two eyes. People just opening up the door and slamming it into the car right next door. And it's happened to me, pisses me off. So as a driver, I want to make sure that I park perfectly within those lines. Drives my wife up the wall because it takes me forever to park the stinking car, but I want the same buffer on either side of my car so that nobody is going to hit it. Again, they cannot park straight. And it just boggles my mind. And some of these cars, they have perfect technology, all the sensors and the cameras, electric vehicles, they've got all the whiz-bang features, and they cannot park straight. Another issue that I run into all the time, and you'll probably run into the same thing, are intersections. So coming from America, I run into the first car rule. So whoever gets to the intersection first, you're the one that gets to go. The other rule is, I forgot the name, but it's either left car. But basically, if you got a four-way intersection and you got four cars that all come to the same time, it's like the guy on the right goes, left guy waits. So it's like clockwise, and it just works out. In Thailand, not so much the case. They follow completely set of different rules. I'm sure in the book it says something similar to like an international standard, but it's like you just got to go with the flow. You really do. I've been into intersections where it should be my time, and you just got a stream of people just going, going, going. Nobody stops, and abides by what I feel should be the law. And you just gotta wait. It's annoying, but you just gotta wait. The other thing is like roundabouts. They're a rare thing. I haven't seen too many roundabouts, but they built one in our area, and people just don't know what to do in a roundabout. They have signs at the intersection of the roundabout that says, it's in Thai, but it's the people inside the circle, they have priority, right? So if you're trying to enter the roundabout, you got to wait. Obviously, if the person's on the other side of the circle, and it's safe to go, you can go, right? But you need to yield to that traffic that's coming. And again, people, I'll be inside the circle, and I should have the priority. And what happens is the people that are coming into the roundabout, there'll just be a stream of cars just entering and going and going and going and going. And you're stopped and you're like, dude, read the sign. It says I have the priority. Like, what gives? But anyways, it's a rare thing. Like I said, there's not too many roundabouts, but it drives me insane. It drives my wife insane. She'll be yelling at people. It's funny because she'll be yelling at them in English, and everybody in the car has to remind her, like, honey, you're in Thailand, speak Thai. They don't understand what you're saying. I almost forgot. There's another problem that I run into every once in a while with intersections. It's the traffic light itself. Some of these lights are so old and they're faded by the sun. They're probably made back in the Sukhothai Kingdom era. The lights within the traffic light itself are like half a candlelight. They're super dim. I can't tell if the light is red, green, or yellow, which is a problem because if you're coming to an intersection and it's red and you can't tell it's red, uh-oh. I remember one intersection in a town called Sakleg, the same thing. It was some years back, and I came to the intersection. I wasn't driving at the time, and it was red. And luckily the driver, for some reason, knew it was red, but I didn't. I couldn't tell at all. Luckily, fast forward 15 years, they replaced it with the newer LED lights. But every once in a while, like I said, you'll run into one of these intersections. In fact, I ran into one just the other day in Phitsanulok. So be aware. Because I'm in a good mood, here's one additional issue that I run into. And I would say it's more in the country, but it actually happens in the cities too. It's road obstacles. And you're probably thinking like, oh, debris that falls off a truck, so you got to swerve around it. Yeah, okay, that could happen. But really what it is, the road obstacle that is the scariest of the scary, dogs. And any time of the day, these dogs will just be laying right in the middle of the road. And I haven't figured out why. I mean, the roads heat up in the day and also at night, so they're toasty. And it's already hot for me, so like I wouldn't want to lay on the black asphalt, tarmac, whatever you want to call it. I wouldn't want to lay on it. But these dogs are just sitting there. And it's worse at night when you're driving down, again, the country road, and you've got a black dog on the black road, with no street lights or anything like that. You're just driving, and it's like you're going to hit them. You're going to hit them. You have to be very, very careful. And, I'm an animal lover. We've got dogs and cats, and I've had all kinds of animals, back in the States. So it's like, I don't want to hit any of these animals. So obviously, the answer there is you just gotta drive slower and be aware and just keep your head on a swivel, as my driver instructor used to say back in high school. Keep your head on a swivel. So that's what I do. I'm always on the lookout. The other thing is sometimes dogs, they'll just run out into the street, and you're like, where the hell did this thing come from? My son, in fact, his girlfriend has hit a dog just recently. I had to actually repair part of the vehicle, so it's a thing. So just be aware; they're there. The other thing that being in the country, they have these fairly large trees, and with the large tree, they have very large leaves. They're probably like this big, and they'll eventually they'll fall off the tree, they'll wilt up, and they'll be laying on the road. So as I'm driving late at night, I see this entity, and I'm like, is that another freaking dog? Is it a puppy? Is it a chicken? Like, what is it? It's a leaf. It's like, another leaf. So like you want to drive fast down the road to get to your destination, but you can't because all these freaking leaves are everywhere. The one time during the day, the one time we were driving down the road, I'm extra careful. I don't want to hit something that's living like an animal. My wife even said, oh, it's okay. It's a leaf. Just go. It's a leaf. Don't worry about it. And for some reason, I decided to not go fast. And it wasn't a leaf. It was a pair of kittens that were sitting on the road. Unfortunately, one of them was hit. I didn't hit them. I drove around them. But, if I had treated it as if it was a leaf, I would have squashed both of them. And again, I don't want to do that. I definitely don't want to do that. Watch out for the dogs. Be wary of the leaves, because the leaves might not be leaves. It could actually be animals. How do I deal with these issues? 1 kilometer at a time. I always have to remind myself, for especially the motorbikes and the roadwork and the intersections problem. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. So that's exactly what I do. I just go with the flow. And ultimately, I'm retired. So I don't need to worry about things. I don't need to get myself in like a road rage state or anything like that. I just, again, go with the flow. Just be one with the environment around you. That's exactly what I do. And eventually all these things aren't problems, but they might be problems for you, and you need to be aware of this. So what are the problems that you run into while you're driving in Thailand? I'd love to hear about those gripes. So leave in the comments below, what are your issues? Do they line up with what I have laid out in my video? Or do you have something completely different? I'm curious. So I hope you have enjoyed my top 5 things that I hate about driving in Thailand. Again, these are things that you might run into. So if you're a first-time driver, please keep these items in mind. And remember, don't work too hard. We've only got one life here, people. Enjoy every moment of it. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, please click one of the video links below or click the playlist.